ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay. Chapter 3. So Krishna talked about duty, prescribed duty, doing your own prescribed duty and not doing somebody else's. Following somebody else's path is dangerous, and yeah, should not be to have attachment and aversion towards things, material things, because they're stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. And he talked about following the chakra of yagna. Now Arjuna is asking, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So Arjuna's question is that even though Krishna is talking about prescribed duties, etc., that why does one violate the prescribed duties? Why does one end up doing things that he should not be doing, which is not prescribed to him for him? So why is one impelled to act sinfully, even unwillingly? So, like in Arjuna's case, he's in some sense, he doesn't want to fight and he's confused. So he's thinking, but I'm being forced not to fight. So why is one, and not doing his duty is sinful? So why does one act like this? So this is a very important verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kamesha Krodesha Rajoguna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhyena Miha Vairinam. It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the mode of passion and later transformed into wrath or anger, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy. Mahashano Mahapapma. All-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So it is the enemy. Mahapapma. Sinful. So it is lust only. What is lust? Desire for gratifying our senses. And this is born out of mode of passion. In the 14th chapter, Krishna talks about this mode of passion, and he says that when there is an increase in mode of passion, it results in uncontrollable desire and hankering, then intense endeavor, attachment to material things, and so on and so forth. So, which is the primary, which is what modern world looks like. Right, so modern world is running simply on this one principle, lust. Then Krishna goes on to explain, because this is actually the all-devouring sinful enemy. So he is describing the enemy, where it is present, how to overcome it, all this. As fire is covered by smoke, as mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust. So embryo covered by womb is like grossly covered, right? Not visible at all. Mirror covered by dust, it is okay. Dust is there, but still some, one can see himself or herself in the mirror, but hazy, right? And fire covered by smoke is the least covering, because fire is there, and smoke is there. As soon as fire becomes little ablaze, then smoke will go. So different degrees of lust, and Prabhupada explains that lust is compared to smoke. It is understood the fire can be little perceived. So when there is smoke, then the fire of the living spark can be little perceived. So when a living entity exhibits his Krishna consciousness slightly, okay, then the beginning stage of Krishna consciousness. Dust on the mirror refers to cleansing process of the mirror of the mind by so many spiritual methods. Embryo covered by the womb is an analogy illustrating a helpless position. Very helpless. And this can be compared to that of trees. And the covered mirror is compared to birds and beasts. So the fire, smoke covered fire is compared to human being, then birds and beasts, and the helpless condition, the womb, that's the trees. So human form of life, the chance for the living entity to escape the entanglement. Thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust. The pure consciousness is that I am the servant of Krishna, I have to serve Krishna, that is called prema. So this pure consciousness is covered by this kama, and which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So kama is never satisfied. So we should understand that, many times some devotees say that, I have this desire, so let me try to fulfill it. No, it is like fire. The more you put, the more oil or ghee or whatever you put, the more the fire will burn. Lust is never satisfied. Which is why there are regulatory principles, so that, at least the grossly sinful things should not be indulged in. They have to be stopped. Because if you continue to cater to those demands, then it will just keep on, it will never end. So this is first point. So don't try to satisfy your lust. Then what happens if somebody is stuck with some material things and he's not able to overcome? So second option is to try and dovetail. For example, somebody wants to eat a lot of food. Okay, eat prasadam. So dovetailing. Somebody likes music. Okay, engage in Krishna conscious music. Now here also, somebody who's far away from bhakti, real bhakti, might just say, okay, I'm going to play whatever instrument I like. Now it's better than going and doing some non-Krishna conscious, engage in non-Krishna conscious music, but it's not ideal, and people have to make progress from there to come to at least accepting those instruments, for example, that our acharyas have recommended. But that's the process, because they can't suddenly give up these things, so they have to be dovetailed. But understand that dovetailing is not the topmost standard. Dovetailing is for those who can't accept directly what Krishna wants. But it's better than engaging in material things, right? So slowly by the process, one gets purified, and then is not conquered by this lust. But till then, we have to be very, very careful. And if in case we end up indulging in things that we should not, devotee should feel very much repentant that they're not able to follow whatever is being prescribed. And then we have to be remorseful, we have to pray for forgiveness, we have to beg for mercy. And then, yes, definitely we should have the faith that Krishna will give mercy. That is one of the angas of Sharanagati. Anukula Sankalpa Pratikula Savajanam Rakshishiti iti Vishwaso. So he will protect me. He will protect me from fall down. Now Krishna talks about sitting places of lust, and Prabhupada says this is like a military arrangement where you are trying to understand where all enemy is seated. Senses, mind, and intelligence are the sitting places of lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. So sometimes there is lust in the senses, meaning eyes are just wanting to only engage in sense gratification. Then not just the senses, then the mind also. So even if suppose say senses somehow we close our eyes, what will the mind do? Mind is subtly working, again attached to the same sense object. Not only that, if it was only mind, then we could have also still somehow tried to escape. But the intelligence also, which means that intelligence is now scheming to get that object. It's very dangerous, right? Senses, mind, intelligence, everywhere lust is sitting. It basically means that this is our nature to enjoy independent of Krishna. That is what this is, right? So it's there everywhere. It's in our, it's in our senses, mind, intelligence. So we can't escape, just like that. Tasmat tvam indriyani adeo niyamya bharatarshava. So indriyani ado, beginning only, in the very beginning. And in the very beginning means kaumaram acharet pragno. Prabhupada says that when children are small or young, they should be engaged in Krishna consciousness, because then that prema for Krishna doesn't degrade to kama. And once it degrades, it becomes very difficult. But of course, Prabhupada also says that at any stage in life, one can start Krishna consciousness and he will be saved. So in the very beginning, curve this great symbol. By regulating the senses. So first is regulating senses, which is following regulative principles. Slayed is destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So we have to follow the rules. Regulating senses simply means following the rules. Now, if you don't follow the rules, niyamya, then what will happen? Then we will succumb. So this highlights the importance of following rules. If we just take things easy, eat whatever, Jain food. The other day, it's very strange actually. Devotees who seem very sincere, who been practicing Krishna consciousness for many years, met somebody in the airport, and I asked them saying that, have you made arrangement for prasadam? They said no. And then I said, what will you do? Yeah, we should get some Jain option here. And, I was just taken aback saying that, looks like the thought process is that Jain food is okay. We have to regulate the senses. If we should not eat non-prasadam, we should not eat non-prasadam. And we should prepare for it. Right? We should go prepared. We know that we are going to be there. Of course, sometimes, we prepared for something, and then, for example, you prepared for one meal, but then say there was some delay, and now you're ending up having to be in some place where, you have to take another meal and nothing is available. Maybe some emergency situations. Even then, preferred is not to eat any kind of cooked food, but fruits possibly, right? Not even processed juice, not factory made. Don't go for anything factory made. You can get some fruits or dry fruits, something like that, right? But we should try to control, try to regulate our senses. It's not control, more than control, it's regulate. Regulate means, okay, give Krishna prasadam. Control means, okay, nothing else. No jamun, gulab jamun. No, that is control. But say no, not karmi gulab jamun, prasadam gulab jamun is regulating the senses. And from the very beginning, this has to be taught. So if we teach kids from a young age that they should not be eating non-prasadam and these principles that we are discussing, then they will never face any challenge in their life, in their practice of Krishna consciousness, because it will just become like second nature for them. So it's very, very important that this is done from an early age. Also, now there is another process. Now, if it is done from an early age, then it works very effectively without having any challenges. Now, Krishna is talking about another process, saying working senses are superior to dull matter. So there's dull matter. Then the working senses is superior to that. Mind is higher than senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And soul is even higher than intelligence. So Krishna spoke about lust being present in senses, mind, and intelligence. And now he's giving one clue, saying that you, the soul, you are even higher than intelligence. And you are not affected by lust. Because you are pure. But of course, because we are associated with matter for so long, it looks like we have become contaminated, but the soul per se is pure. So now Krishna is saying that now because you are the soul, now you can do something about it. And this is a very, very important verse. Knowing oneself to be transcendental to the senses, mind, and intelligence. Knowing oneself. Oneself means Atma. I am transcendental to the senses, mind, and intelligence. Lust is sitting in senses, mind, and intelligence. But I am transcendental to that. What one should do? One should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. Deliberate spiritual intelligence. Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada is saying. One should steady the mind. Okay, I have to follow these rules and regulations. And if I don't do, these are the repercussions. So by spiritual intelligence, so there is knowledge, you get knowledge, and then based on the intelligence, you steady your mind. But not just by gnana. So that is why Prabhupada is saying by Krishna consciousness. By following the process of Krishna consciousness, one can, after some effort, steady their mind. And this is the stage of, when all the anarthas are gone. And then by this practice of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada is saying by spiritual strength, not just by intelligence, one also has to get spiritual strength. And then one is able to conquer the insatiable enemy known as lust. So this is what Prabhupada is revealing to us. Evam buddhe param buddhva. So what is this intelligence? This intelligence is intelligence of Krishna consciousness. So there are two parts here. One is the spiritual intelligence, and then there is spiritual strength. So one has to have knowledge in Krishna consciousness about Sambandha Videya Prayojana, and one should practice Krishna consciousness to get spiritual strength to be able to conquer. Because sometimes just knowledge is not helpful. We know, like for example, people know smoking is injurious to health. That is knowledge, but they're not able to put it into practice. But that is material intelligence. Spiritual intelligence comes only when we are engaged in some spiritual activity. Because if we just get even spiritual knowledge, we might still not have the strength to apply it. The same thing, right? Like for example, not eating non-prasadam. We might not have the spiritual strength to apply that knowledge. So we need spiritual strength. And for that, one has to sincerely and seriously practice Krishna consciousness. Only then one can develop that spiritual strength. And once one develops spiritual strength, then he can conquer his senses, mind, intelligence, which are, affected by this lust. Without practice of Krishna consciousness, we cannot overcome this lust. And based on each individual has their own weaknesses, and it might take a long time, which is the process of anartha nivritti, right? The time taken to get rid of all anarthas, which is I keep saying it's like uphill, cycling uphill. It's a very difficult task. But at the same time, you can't stop pedaling. You're tired, but you can't stop pedaling. Because if you stop pedaling, then you're going to go back, go down, and you're going to have more trouble, trying to get back again because you've gone down further. So we have to keep on pedaling. We have to keep on trying, pray for mercy, be in the association of devotees who are able to follow. Keep trying, right? And then slowly, steadily, we will develop this spiritual strength. And then when we would have, then won over the anarthas. Okay, so this is very, very important to note. We should not be casual about following rules and regulations. We should not be casual about following bhakti. We should engage in intense bhakti because only that can help us. Okay, so this completes chapter 3. Any questions on this before I go to the next chapter?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, I have one doubt about the food.
Yeah.
The papads, the fryams, those kind of things, can we buy and fry at home, or because it is also...
Ideally not, but generally it is done. See, in Madhva Sampradaya, what they do is all of this is actually made by devotees only. Ideally, we should have facility wherein these things are made by devotees. Even in this, it's better we try to find some more sattvic outlet. Like, don't definitely buy packed, as in factory sealed kind of papad and all that, right? That is the worst. Then you are contributing to Ugra Karma, right? Then there are some, for example, some small stores where, some homemade somebody is doing. Of course, it's not like ideal, but yeah, ideal devotees have to do all this. Like even spices, right? We should do devotees at least for their own consumption. There should be some devotees who can, do these spices and these kind of things, right? Which we use directly for cooking. We should try. Now, another thing which comes to our rescue is that when we buy these things, we should never take them, as in, if somebody gives us for free, we should not take them. We should buy. One of the principles is that when we buy food, the sin is eliminated. Okay, sin is eliminated, meaning the sin of eating that food is eliminated, but it doesn't have love still. So we can still take it and then offer it, like with some love, but it's not ideal. It's just a practical solution kind of thing, right? Ideal is to actually do it ourselves.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Okay.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, is it also that Krishna will understand our bhava and we keep doing all nonsense? Is that
No.
No.
Yeah, he will understand that we have nonsense bhava.
Because I have heard saying, it's okay, you can do this. Because
Yeah, it's
Krishna will
okay.
understand your
Yeah,
bhava.
Krishna will understand. What is the bhava? That I want to eat non-prasadam. That's my bhava. Yeah, Krishna will understand. No, why will he not understand?
No matter elderly or that, all those clauses doesn't be considered, right, Prabhu?
No, I mean, see, if there is somebody who's really in a situation, Krishna will definitely understand. Like I'm saying, like somebody is fainting, right?
Okay.
And then he has to, self-preservation is top priority, right? So if somebody's got to that state, then he has to eat something. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It really doesn't matter. I mean, as long as it's not non-vegetarian, anything that person eats is okay, because Krishna understands, saying that this was an emergency. Now, sometimes what happens, sometimes, some devotees get hospitalized, etc. And Some hospitals enforce saying that, you have to eat hospital food. No, even after requesting saying that we don't eat, etc. If some hospital is not allowing at all, then what can that person do? Then he might eat the least contaminating, right? But you can't help. Ideally, we should request saying that, and some arrangement has to be made so that, some prasadam is supplied. But if not, what can be done? Then somebody will have to eat, say, something like idli with sugar, right? Like something like that, so that, it's an emergency. That Krishna will understand. Saying that, this person is in hospital people are not allowing, and hence, okay. Right? So there should be a real reason. I mean, not just for the sake of making up a reason, right? If there is a real reason, obviously Krishna will understand. Krishna is our well-wisher, he is our father, he is everything for us. Why will he not understand? He will understand. But is it that we have put our required effort before we decided saying that, I'm just going to take this shortcut? That's what Krishna will see.
Okay.
Shiva temple prasadam, normally we don't take. Though we can ourselves, maybe, if we are at a high stage of devotion, we can offer it to Shiva because he is Vaishnava. But then Shiva also would like to take the prasadam offered to Supreme Lord because he is a Vaishnava. So he doesn't like to eat directly. So, but these things are not known in normal Shiva temple, so better not eat. If it is a Shiva temple which is being where worship is being done by Vaishnavas, then yes, because then there will be that mood of worship. Otherwise, generally it will be considering that Shiva is the supreme controller and offered directly to Shiva. And even the people who are offering might not be pure in, I mean, like their consciousness might not be very clear. It might not be perfectly perfect. They're not possibly in the perfect knowledge. So generally it's avoided. How can we understand kama converted to, yeah, like if we desire something, if we don't get something, we'll become angry. Simple. We want something and we are not getting it. Children do. They want something, parents don't give, they'll start crying. That is their way of expressing anger, frustration. That okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
One more doubt regarding to the Prabhuji. Like so many times when we are breaking the fast in the temple on Janmashtami days, or we are having Ekadashi Prasadam in the temple, we get the chips, no, Prabhuji. So that chips can we have, or even though it is offered, but ideally those chips should be fried in cold pressed oil or something natural. So I have a doubt that whether the temple, I don't know the practices, whether the temple.
Yeah, we don't know. It depends on the temple what they do. I mean, generally that is why Ekadashi is safe to just eat fruits or whatever you cook at home. Generally, it's yeah. I mean, otherwise, see, these questions we can't answer. We'll have to go and ask the temple wherever you're honoring the prasadam.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Rohini Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So in the demigods temple and Shiva temple, Mother Parvati temple, the people offer the food, right? So do they accept? I mean, Shiva or Parvati, Hanuman?
That I'm not sure because that depends on what their Shastra is saying. See, generally Shiva is very, very merciful, so he will accept. Is very easy to be pleased. So if somebody offers sincerely, I'm sure he'll accept. See, demigods have some obligation in the sense if it is followed, if some certain vidhi is followed, then they accept. Which is why we can't directly go and offer, right? There'll be some pujari who, assuming they're trained, they know, and it is all mantras. There is no bhava there.
Right.
It's just mantras, and as long as the mantras are chanted properly, it'll be accepted.
Okay. So because sometimes if we go to like, Hanuman temple to distribute books or like, to do programs, so the devotee, I mean, who is there, like, he makes it, prasadam only, but like they offer it to Hanuman, right? So we can accept.
Yeah, see, which is ideal is like Hanuman also would be seeing the, is it been offered to Lord Ram and
Yeah.
then is prasadam given to me, right? But it's still, because his consciousness is perfectly pure, it's still okay, right? I mean, it's okay, as in it's not going to contaminate us.
Right.
While like I said, Hanuman himself would be looking forward for accepting prasadam, then this will become Mahaprasad for us, right? But it's okay. But generally these exceptions are not created because then devotees don't know where to draw the line and they end up, taking
Right.
all prasadam. So generally it is said, demigod temples avoid.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Harish.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Okay. Okay, let me just start with chapter 4. Don't have much time. Transcendental knowledge. Personally, I've got it. Lord Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan. Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, father of mankind. Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. So in this purport, Prabhupada talks about the history, how old Bhagavad Gita has been in human society, right? And the supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession. So this is the importance of parampara. The saintly kings, Raja Shayo Viduhu, understood it in that way. But in course of time, succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. So now it's not that the knowledge was not there, but the succession was broken. So the knowledge is now corrupted. So the science as it is appears to be lost. As it is, science is not there. Some science is there. So the chain of disciplic succession seemed broken. And so Krishna is telling Arjuna, saying that you start a new parampara. Because this chain has been broken. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme. Relationship with the Supreme. Yoga. Right? Is today told by me to you because Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. You are my devotee as well as my friend. And therefore, rahasyam hi etad uttamam. Therefore, you can understand the rahasya, transcendental mystery. So we should understand that this is a science. Bhagavad Gita is a science of Sambandha Gnana, right? Relationship with the Supreme. And it can be understood only by a devotee. Of course, Arjuna was a devotee and as well as a friend, but only a devotee can understand. Because this is transcendental mystery. What does this mean? What do we understand by this? Why is it that only a devotee can understand this? And what does that mean that a devotee can understand?
He is non-envious of Krishna, Prabhu. That's why he can understand.
Okay, he's non-envious of Krishna. Okay, then?
And then he is in the mode of goodness, at least.
No. Okay. Now, I mean, devotee means he is transcended mode of goodness. He is not in mode of goodness.
Yeah. At least I'm saying minimum, base minimum.
No, these are two different things.
Okay.
See, goodness, passion, ignorance is material.
Yes.
It's in the material platform. Devotee is on the spiritual platform. So they're not like, it's like saying, like, yeah, I mean, it's not, these two are not like, we should not think that because we are trying to transcend that the topmost platform of the lower platform is still okay. Because the lower platform itself is material platform. So it's not okay. right? But it's the process of moving, of transcending. That's all. That one will be in Sattva Guna and then he will transcend. But when the word bhakta is used, he is transcended.
Yes,
Bhakta
true.
is transcended. So this is very important. See, we cannot understand this Bhagavad Gita like a, we cannot read this like a book of knowledge. Right? Book of knowledge means you will just take the book and start reading it and you will use your intelligence and you are able to understand. But Bhagavad Gita is not like that. Otherwise, Krishna would not have said that this is a mystery. So it's a transcendental mystery. Which means that the Bhagavad Gita is available only to a devotee who is serving Krishna, who has become a servant of Krishna. And he is he's not envious of, not only he's not envious, but he's also engaging in serving Krishna. And he's understanding his constitutional position, that he's a servant, etc. And then what happens when he engages in devotional service? By the practice of devotional service, then he will start applying these instructions one after the other. And when he applies one instruction, another instruction becomes revealed to him. It's not that all of what Krishna is saying somebody can understand. It can't be understood. Because there are different levels of surrender. Instructions are for people at different levels of surrender. For example, if Krishna is talking about transcendental nature, now if somebody is in Tamoguna, how can you understand this transcendental nature that Krishna is talking about? You can't understand. So then, one has to practice devotion, then little by little the rahasya is revealed. So without, I had this experience in my life when for the first 6 months of me coming in touch with ISKCON, I was just simply sitting and studying Bhagavad Gita like a scholar. But I was not able to understand anything. Because these words, the way the knowledge has been presented can be understood only by a devotee. Right? Who is practicing devotion, hearing from other devotees. And only then these things become understandable. Now, for example, now Krishna is saying, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. Now, if somebody is not practicing devotion, how can he understand that Krishna is giving intelligence? Dadami buddhi yogam tam means Krishna is saying, I will give you the required intelligence to come to me. Now, if somebody is not practicing devotion only, how can he experience this statement? So he can't understand. He can't explain what it is. That is why, this Bhagavad Gita should not be translated or commented upon by non-devotees, by people who are not practicing Krishna consciousness, because they can't understand. They can't understand the secret. Now, when Krishna is saying, Vishaya vinivartante nirharasya jehana rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Now, higher taste. Unless one has experienced what this higher taste is, he cannot understand this verse. How can one experience higher taste? Only when he engages in devotion. So, like this is a mystery. This is a mystery. This mystery will be revealed only when somebody follows the instructions that Krishna has given in Bhagavad Gita. Brahma bhuta prasannatmana sochati na kangshati. Now, unless somebody has come to Brahma bhuta, how can you understand this? So, like this, it's all practice sadhana linked to sadhana. Sometimes there will be one practice depending on another practice. Like, for example, to come to Brahma bhuta, one has to become see with equal vision. Then which means that one has to tolerate problems. So then matra sparshas to kaunteya. So like this, different instructions can be understood based on our maturity in Krishna consciousness, our how well we are applying those instructions. Then we can understand. We can understand this mystery little by little. This is okay. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, I'll just a counter argument to what we're discussing, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I'll just play a devil's advocate.
Mhm.
So basically, we're saying, only devotees can understand this Bhagavad Gita, right?
Mhm.
Only at the transcendental level. But for you to get to that level, I mean, let's say I'm a just a general public, right? So basically, I want to understand, first of all, you need to read scrutinizingly and understand what is there, the content in Bhagavad Gita, and eventually, I mean, is it not that you should read first scrutinizingly, then understand, then
No, I
eventually
read
realize that knowledge?
scrutinizingly. I
Yeah?
read scrutinizingly 5 times, 6 times Bhagavad Gita. I didn't understand anything. See,
Okay.
this book is not for is not. That's why I'm saying it's not just for somebody who has high IQ. Can somebody with high IQ come and crack Bhagavad Gita? No, he can't.
Yes,
tried.
I mean, yeah, Krishna is saying, I mean, see, Chaturvida Bhajanti Mam, right? Prabhu, at least he's saying, Jananam Punya Karmana, at least people in the mode of goodness, they can approach, at least they can understand,
No,
approach
but
Krishna and they can understand that.
these
At least
people.
that should be the beginning stage to enter into reading the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhu,
No, no.
because we're saying they have to be at the higher platform above the modes to understand Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. So okay.
But my counter argument is because without even touching Bhagavad Gita, without even reading or hearing from the devotees, how can he transcend the modes? Because
Yeah.
they don't know that they have to transcend the nodes
Yeah.
unless they read Bhagavad Gita, right?
No,
Right,
which
Prabhu?
is
So
why,
that's my yeah.
which is why devotees, which is why preaching is important, which is why devotee association is important, which is why we ask people to chant Hare Krishna, right? So this process of chanting Hare Krishna itself will start cleansing. He automatically became a devotee. When a
Okay.
person starts chanting Hare Krishna, he already became a devotee. Now it's just upon to the extent of his purification, he can understand Bhagavad Gita so much, right? Now here also in our group, see, everybody's chanting, everybody's been reading. How many of us actually understand everything that Bhagavad Gita is, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, right? Now that depends on our practice, our sadhana, our purity. But we got access. So step by step, these things will get revealed to us over a period of time, right? No, obviously, if somebody just takes this book off the shelf and starts reading, which is what I did, I'm telling you from my experience, I just couldn't
Okay.
understand anything, right? I can't just buy this book off the shelf and read it. I need to associate with a devotee, which is also devotion. I need to at least, otherwise I should be chanting, which is also devotion. I might not be fully aware of the principles of devotion, but I'm engaged in some activity of devotion. Krishna will still give mercy. Right? Which is why Chaturvida Bhajante Mam Jana Sukrutino Arjuna. They have come to me. Krishna is saying this fact that they have surrendered to me. So they will get mercy. Whether it is based on knowledge or based on sentiment, somehow, if a jiva comes to Krishna, he is fortunate. But, I mean, even somebody who is come, they will only have the mindset saying that, okay, now I have to try and understand Bhagavad Gita. But you give them Bhagavad Gita and ask them to read, they'll find it difficult. Isn't it? How much time it took us, all of us here, to start to understand Bhagavad Gita?
Based on my experience, it is true, Prabhu, because alone it's not going to help, because when you hear from, initially my experience was when I started Krishna consciousness, my brother gave me the books and audio of Prabhupada. After listening from Prabhupada, it was easy, right? Because you alone reading may not be effective. Yeah, you're right. I think association of devotees and
Yeah,
listening
so
from a realized soul is very, very important than us alone reading and trying to understand.
yeah, because that is the process of devotion, Shravanam.
Okay.
Right? As soon as you start hearing from a devotee, whether you have explicitly said that or not said that, you are associating with a devotee, right? You are willing to hear. You have some faith in that person. All these are symptoms of devotion, right? And the devotee will also help you, and he will tell, start chanting now. And then as we engage in more acts of devotion, then the subject matter becomes little more easier to understand. And like this, it goes on and on. It's like it's a mystery because it just doesn't end. Meaning these realizations, they can go on and on and on, right? Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, anything else? Okay, then we'll stop here. Mantrakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyo cha patithanapānubhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namo. Koti Vaishnava ki jai, Samveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Disconnect. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.